Good Monday morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Right now on Morning News Now, 1 day away. The longest, most contentious race of the midterms coming to a close. This morning, Georgia Senate candidates Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker making their final pitches ahead of tomorrow's high-stakes runoff election.
Elections are about a choice. And this election is about competence and character.
They're campaigning because they're lying to you. Senator Warnock, who's this man out of cloth, is lying to you.
This as Walker faces new accusations and a new scandal in the final hours of the campaign. We have team coverage from both campaigns as we break down what's at stake. Also this morning, a discrimination debate heading back to the Supreme Court with same-sex marriage and religious freedom at the center of the case. More on the arguments being heard today in a case that could impact millions of people. Plus, under review this morning, new developments out of Iran following months of unrest. A top Iranian official now signaling the country's controversial morality police may soon be disbanded. We'll bring you the latest. And oh, Christmas tree, a time-honored tradition getting some help from science. We'll give you a behind-the-scenes look at how those holiday furs go from the lab to a tree lot to your living room. There's also the option of the ones that come out of a box.
There's that, too. Or you can get like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree that needs a little love but is still worthy of our attention. Yes.
Okay, me too. So exciting. I know. Very fancy. All right, we begin this morning with the high-stakes Georgia Senate runoff election tomorrow as both incumbent Raphael Warnock and GOP rival Herschel Walker hit the campaign trail one more time to win over last-minute voters.
But for Walker, there is new controversy this morning that could derail his efforts to win. A former girlfriend is accusing him of domestic abuse during their 5-year relationship in the early 2000s. She recounted the incident on camera for the first time to NBC News. We do want to warn viewers, some may find this disturbing.
He just hovered over me and pinned me on the wall and continued to say, "You want to see a man, I'll show you a man." And he was pressing his forehead against mine. My head was against the wall. He was speaking with such force that his saliva was all over my face. And he had his hand on my throat and my chest, and then he leaned back to throw a punch. And luckily I was able to avoid that, and the punch landed on the wall instead of me.
Walker's campaign has not responded to multiple requests from NBC News for a comment. It is the second accusation of abuse that Walker has faced in recent years. We have our team here to help walk us through the latest from Georgia, including NBC News correspondent Tremaine Lee in Atlanta and NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray. So, Mark, let's start with you. The incumbent Senator Warnock holds a very small lead over GOP challenger Herschel Walker. That's what we saw really in November. This latest controversy with Walker comes after several other controversies during the general election. Does it look like these are having an impact in the polls? Is this Warnock's race to lose right now?
Yeah, Joe, I think the only thing for us to glean from the polls right now, as well as the results from the general election last November, this race remains competitive and incredibly close. And when you do look at the most recent polls that are out there, like CNN's that came out last Friday, it shows Warnock with just a small lead among likely voters, but within the margin of error. Raphael Warnock also ends up having a substantial advantage over the airwaves. And the one thing that Herschel Walker will not benefit from on Tuesday that he was able to benefit in the November general election was the Republicans who went to vote for Brian Kemp, the incumbent governor who ended up winning re-election over Democrat Stacey Abrams. This is just Warnock versus Herschel Walker, and that's a different dynamic. And also what's different is we still just don't know the composition of the turnout in this runoff election, which is smack dab between Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays and just comes a couple of days after the SEC championship football game that Georgia ended up winning.
So, Tremaine, let's look at the campaign trail. Both Walker and Warnock making their final pitches to voters today. It comes after a full weekend of campaign events. Let's just listen to some of what Warnock had to say to voters on Sunday.
Over the last few years especially, we've been going through a bit of a contraction, and there are folk who are trying to divide us But because of young people like you, I really do believe that our best days are not behind us. Our best days are in front of us.
So, Tremaine, what message are we hearing from both candidates just a day before this election, and who are they targeting in these final campaign events?
Joe, certainly Warnock is appealing to his base, that he has been there before, he's worked across the aisle, that he is the values candidate given all the controversy around Walker. But certainly he's also been pushing ads, allowing voters themselves to react to some of the more kind of absurd things that Herschel Walker has talked about, bad air and vampires and werewolves. But for the Walker campaign, you know, he's trying to tie Warnock to crime and inflation, saying that's part of the Joe Biden agenda. But what's really important here is their base, to make sure that folks who did not vote maybe in the midterms are coming out to support their candidates, especially for Warnock, because Democrats have had the lead in getting out early in terms of absentee mail-in and also in-person early voting.
So, Tremaine, the early voting in Georgia, it's done. It ended with a bang on Friday. 2 previous early voting state records were broken. Do we know who turned out for early voting? How did the numbers break down?
We do. It's pretty interesting. Of the nearly 1.9 million people who voted early, again, smashing records on 2 consecutive days, 76,000 of those folks did not vote in the midterms. 76,000 people who did not vote before showed up in the runoff. Broke down like this: 55% white, 32% black. 52% of those folks were Democrats and 39% Republican. But again, a lot will, rest on who comes out to vote this Tuesday. Even though records have been broken, it still comes down to turnout. Joe.
And Mark, I mean, Democrats have already secured a majority, rather a very slim one in the Senate. So why is this so critical for Democrats to try to win?
Joe, 2 real reasons. Number one is actually the composition of the committees that you have in the United States Senate. Because the current Senate is 50-50 with Vice President Kamala Harris casting the tie-breaking vote, the power-sharing agreement is that the committee composition is exactly right down the middle. But if Democrats are able to have a 51-49 majority, then all of a sudden they end up getting a substantial majority on these committees, which can actually help in passing legislation. The other reason, Joe, is it just gives you more breathing room if you are Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, that you are able to say, hey, Joe Manchin doesn't support this, but you have an additional Democrat who does. And so that breathing room with a new power sharing agreement or just a new committee composition would be a substantial difference from the current Senate power that Democrats have.
Mark Murray and Tremaine Lee, thank you for kicking us off this hour. We appreciate it. The FBI has been called into Moore County, North Carolina, where a state of emergency was declared after 2 power stations were destroyed. Authorities are calling it an intentional attack. Police say at least 1 person fired gunshots at 2 energy substations on Saturday night, cutting off electricity in the area. This morning, 45,000 customers are still without power. While no motive has been revealed, investigators are looking into speculation that the substations were targeted because of a drag show taking place nearby.
We're living in some challenging times that I never thought in my 40 years in law enforcement we would be seeing things and dealing with folks that are dealing with things that we're dealing with. But unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with this. So.
A curfew is currently in place. Power officials warn it could be days before power is fully restored to the area.
To Washington now, where the Supreme Court is set to hear arguments in a case that could upend certain protections for same-sex couples and those who identify as LGBTQ. It's all centered around a Colorado business owner who sued the state over its anti-discrimination law, claiming she should be able to refuse to design wedding websites for same-sex couples without punishment because she opposes it. Joining us now is NBC News Washington correspondent Yamiche Alcindor and NBC News legal analyst Cynthia Oxney. Great to have you both with us. Thank you for joining us. So, Yamiche, I'm going to start with you. Now, this is the second time in just the past 5 years that the Supreme Court is hearing a case that focuses on a business owner not wanting to perform a service for a same-sex couple due to those religious beliefs. So walk us through this particular case that's being presented today. What are the details in this one?
Well, good morning. This is a big day at the Supreme Court as justices are gearing up to hear oral arguments in a case centered, as you said, on LGBTQ rights as well as free speech. Now, the owner of a website creating company, 303 Creatives. Her name is Lori Smith. She sued the state of Colorado. She's being represented by Alliance Defending Freedom. That's important because that conservative Christian law group has brought a number of cases before the Supreme Court. Lori Smith is arguing that she should be allowed to create websites, wedding websites for opposite-sex couples, but not for same-sex couples because her religious beliefs oppose same-sex marriage. So she is saying, essentially, I have free speech not to create things that I religiously oppose. Civil rights groups say that she's looking for a license to discriminate. They say that this idea that free speech would allow her to not comply with Colorado's discrimination laws, which prohibit discrimination against people because of their sexual orientation, that would be problematic because you could also see people like hairstylists or restaurant owners say that that's also part of their free speech and part of their artistic words and artistic expressions. But Lori Smith is essentially saying, I want to make sure I'm suing preemptively before I start creating websites to try to get a license to be able to do this. It's interesting because in 2018, we saw a Colorado baker come before the Supreme Court saying he didn't want to create cakes for same-sex couples. He won, but on very narrow ground. So this case is really a second bite at that apple of this question. With the 6-3 majority, a 6-3 majority where you have conservatives, religious conservatives on the court, a number of court watchers say that this is the kind of case that these justices were looking for and that might be in favor of Lori Smith. Savannah?
Cynthia, let's bring you in here, and I want to reference something Yamiche was just talking about, add a little bit of context here. It comes on the heels of another landmark decision from the court that was back in 2020 that banned workplace discrimination based on sexual orientation. What sort of impact could this particular case have on things like that, on anti-discrimination laws, and then maybe also even free speech in general?
Well, I think it's going to drive a huge hole in the protections for LGBTQ people. I mean, the problem is that the justices aren't really going at it in a straightforward way and overturning the anti-discrimination laws. What they're doing is creating this big hole for purely expressive conduct. But you can just see how you could frame purely expressive conduct as almost anything. It's, I created a cake, or I created a pasta dish, or I'm doing an artistic expression of the manner in which I'm doing my paintings, or the way I'm doing nails, or the way I'm doing hair. So it does, you could drive a truck through the hole that could come out of this case, and it's very problematic.
Yamiche, we know last week the Senate passed what's known as the Respect for Marriage Act. It's a bill that would give federal protection to both interracial and same-sex couples. And now that's received bipartisan support in both the House and the Senate. So explain to us the importance of a bill like that headed into today's arguments, and give us an update on when we can expect that vote in the House on that.
Well, the bipartisan group of lawmakers who voted to pass this in the Senate say that this is really critical to protecting interracial couples as well as same-sex couples and the laws that protect their marriages. Nancy Pelosi, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who's still House Speaker for a couple more weeks, she said that she's going to bring this to the House floor for a vote on Tuesday. It is expected that President Biden will sign it in short order. And this is really, Democrats in particular, but some Republicans who also are supporting it, this is really just extending the protections for LGBTQ rights at a time where many feel as though those rights are under attack. You think of the Club Q shooting that happened, with many people feeling very tense about the arguments that are being made against LGBTQ rights. There's also, of course, the politics of this, where we've seen a number of Republicans across the country running on against things like transgender rights, transgender people competing in sports. So really the politics of this are that people want to, lawmakers who are supporting this want to make sure that there's a stamp to say that they are behind supporting the LGBTQ community. Savannah?
And Cynthia, let me bring you in here one last time. So since 2018, the ruling that we just mentioned a moment ago, the Supreme Court has become more conservative and in turn more open to cases like this one. They've been bringing this conversation up again. And we know that after Roe v. Wade was overturned this summer, Justice Clarence Thomas called for same-sex marriage to be eliminated. Could the court's decision in this case sort of be an ominous first step in ways toward making that happen?
In the overturning of Roe v. Wade, Thomas specifically talked about maybe overturning Obergefell, which is the same-sex marriage case. And many people are concerned not only about same-sex marriage, but contraception, interracial marriage, and all kinds of those cases that are based on fundamental rights that the Supreme Court has taken away. Oberfell is a danger. And let me just make sure people understand the Defense of Marriage Act, which is about to be passed, it supports people's marriage, but only if it's legal in their state. So it's not like they're going so far that they're taking care of the Oberfell issue in Congress. And people who have same-sex marriages will still be very threatened by this court if they overturn Oberfell. And it looks like certainly Justice Thomas is going to try to do just that.
Cynthia and Yamiche, thank you both so much for joining us this morning.
On Sunday's Meet the Press, Israeli Prime Minister-designate Benjamin Netanyahu responded to former President Trump's interactions with noted anti-Semites. We also heard from Congresswoman Catherine Clark, the incoming Democratic whip, who discussed the party's plans in the House after losing the majority. Meet the Press moderator Chuck Todd has this recap.
You've got a unique relationship with former President Trump. He has consistently flirted with some really fringe characters that spout this anti-Semitic behavior, that preach white supremacy and white nationalism, things like that. And he doesn't denounce it. He is yet to denounce Kanye West at all. He's yet to denounce being with the white supremacists a few days ago. Why does he have this difficulty, do you think?
I don't know. First, let me say that President Trump did great things for Israel. He recognized Jerusalem as our capital, long overdue since King David proclaimed it as such 3,000 years ago. He moved the American embassy there. He recognized our sovereignty in the Golan Heights. He got out of what I believe is the disastrous Iran deal that would have paved Iran's path with gold, hundreds of billions of dollars of sanctions relief towards a nuclear arsenal. So he's done all these great things, and I appreciate it, and I remain appreciative. On this matter, on Kanye West and that other unacceptable guest, I think it's not merely unacceptable, it's just wrong. And I hope he sees his way to staying out of it and condemning it.
I want to ask you about FTX, the fallen FTX CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried. He's given nearly $40 million to Democratic causes over the last campaign cycle. I believe $6 million went to the House Majority PAC, another $1 million to the Senate side of things. Do you think the Democratic Party got itself too tied up with the crypto industry in general?
You know, FTX is a cautionary tale for all of us who are looking at how do we regulate crypto? How do we make sure that we are embracing what might be new technologies and currencies, but also making sure that consumers have accountability and transparency. And let me remind you that it is the Democrats who make sure that we are pushing laws to get dark money out of our politics so that people can see who's funding our campaigns. That is met with absolute resistance across the aisle, and that is an issue that we are going to continue to push.
Our thanks to Chuck Todd for that recap.
And now let's get a check on your morning news now weather.
Meteorologist Michelle Grossman is with us. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning to you both. Happy Monday. And we are tracking some rain. Some of it is heavy. Some will be heavy and some will cause some flash flooding as we go throughout this Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday. So taking a look at radar and satellite, we're seeing plenty of cloud cover. Also seeing that rain falling in portions of the south. It's the Tennessee Valley, the lower Mississippi Valley, into the deep south where we're seeing this rain falling. You can see the yellows, those brighter colors. That's telling us where that heavier rain is falling. So we do expect heavy rain into Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, even portions of Arkansas and Mississippi. It's all due to this warm front that's moving very slowly. It will be moving very slowly over the next few days, too. So showers expanding during the afternoon hours. It lifts to the north and east slowly still on Tuesday, bringing scattered rain across the East Coast. You can see rain falling in the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, into New England and portions of the South. So it's a widespread area that will be seeing rain on Tuesday. Now, as we get towards Wednesday, we're going to see training storms. Those are storms that kind of go over the same areas over and over again. That will continue into the middle of the week, and we will see the chance for more areas of localized flash flooding. That mainly will be in Tennessee, Alabama, and also Arkansas into Georgia. This is what we're looking at in terms of rainfall totals, anywhere from a quarter inch, but some spots even locally up to 5 inches, especially where you see the yellow, especially where you see the orange and red as well. That's where we're expecting the most rain to fall. So our flash flood risk, this is for today, the darker blue, that's where we expect the expectation where we could see some flash flooding. Huntsville, Birmingham, Tupelo, just north of Tupelo, even into Atlanta, you could see the risk for flash flooding. That continues tomorrow tomorrow. Notice that spot does not move very far. It's pretty much the same area. And then Wednesday, same story. We're going to see heavy rain in the same spots. Now we have the rain. We're seeing this warm front pulling in that Gulf moisture. It's also pulling in the warm. So we're looking at temperatures 10 to 20 degrees above normal for this time of year. I mean, look at these numbers. It's December. It's near 80 degrees in San Angelo, 15 degrees above normal for this time of year. Houston near 80, 73 in New Orleans, even up to St. Louis. We're up to 53, 69 degrees in Oklahoma City. It'll be warm, too, in the Northeast. Temperatures into the 60s, 9 degrees above normal in D.C. for this time of year. Back to you guys.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up, signs of change in Iran following months of protests.
When we come back, what we're learning about the possible disbanding of the country's controversial morality police. This is Morning News Now. Stay with us. Welcome back. Iran's attorney general is signaling that the country's so-called morality police could be disbanded. He also says parliament is reviewing a law requiring women to wear hijabs or those head coverings. We'd like to note, though, the attorney general is not responsible for overseeing the morality police, and his claims have not been officially confirmed by Iran's government. Now, this comes as months of protests and unrest continue in the country. The outrage was first sparked by the death of Mahsa Amini, who died in the hospital 3 days after she had been detained by the morality police back in September. Police had said Amini died after she fell ill and slipped into a coma, but her family has said witnesses told them officers beat her, which police have denied. NBC News Tehran bureau chief and correspondent Ali Arouzi joins us now. Ali, thanks for being with us on this. So we haven't officially heard from Iran's leadership about the morality police being disbanded, but what is the latest both that's being reported on this and with what you're seeing there?
Hi, good morning. Well, look, they're not really being disbanded. What they're trying to do is bring them in another way. So not to have a physical presence of the morality police on the street, but they want to enforce the hijab sort of remotely using surveillance cameras, facial recognition. And if women are then spotted not wearing the hijab, they'll be fined or they won't be allowed to go into a bank. But they're only getting rid of the physical presence of the morality police. And to be quite frank, the morality police haven't been on the streets since the death of Mahsa Amini, simply because they can't enforce it anymore. I would say about 60% of the women in Tehran and other cities and towns across the city refuse to wear the hijab anymore. And when you have about 60% of the female population refusing to abide by this law, it becomes very difficult to enforce. You know, you can't arrest 60% of the female population. So this is something the women in Iran have done. They've forced the authorities' hands and they can't control it, and that's why they're scrambling to get this done. There's also the timing is rather suspicious. For the last few days, Iranians have been calling for massive strikes and protests to start today. And then on the eve of those strikes and protests, the government suddenly is saying that they're having a review of the morality police to sort of deflect attention on what's going on the ground. But it's still going to be enforced, and it's very unlikely in 2 weeks' time when they review the hijab, they're going to get rid of it because it's a pillar of the Islamic Republic, and if they did get rid of it, then they'd be on a very slippery slope.
Absolutely. I mean, Ali, I think right now when you see some of these headlines, maybe the morality police being disbanded, potentially looking at this law that requires women to wear the hijab, you think, hey, is this some success here because of the number of women that we've seen out in the streets? But it's sounding like, in fact, maybe neither of those things are actually happening, and that in addition to that, analysts are sort of skeptical that any change is really happening here. Is that fair?
It is fair in terms of the government perspective. You know, they're very resilient to any change. They're very deeply rooted. But something I've been asked by a lot of people is all of this violence, all of these protests in Iran, will it lead to any sort of change? Well, the answer to that question is it has already changed. For 43 years, the hijab has been ruthlessly enforced, and now women are refusing to wear it. It's still part of the country's law. So that is a sea change in Iran that women and young people have brought about. You know, when I left Iran a few days ago, the airport is a highly secure zone. It's controlled by the IRGC. over half the women in the airport were not wearing the headscarf. So that's already changed, and it would be inconceivable to think that they could force that back on now, because it would, again, it would open up doors of huge protests and violence, which they're just not prepared for. So that change has already happened. What the trajectory is going to be in the future remains a little more clouded.
And pretty incredible that what you're essentially saying is that the change may be not coming from the government or from the leadership there, but just from the women themselves who have made this happen. Ali, thank you so much.
Now we've got breaking news in Ukraine, where there are reports from the Ukrainian Air Force that Russia has launched another round of attacks. NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber is in Kyiv, where a community group was already preparing for this possibility by getting their neighborhood ready in case their power is knocked out by an attack. Ellison, good morning to you. I hope you and your crew, I'm sure, are staying safe. First of all, just what's going on there, and what can you tell us about this group and how it got started?
Yeah, I mean, this group, like so many Ukrainians, has been dreading, preparing for the potential of another large-scale missile strike. We are under an air raid siren right now. A spokesperson for Ukraine's Air Force, they say that an attack has already been launched, that a number of missiles have been fired from ships in the Black Sea, as well as areas near the Caspian Sea. They say that they believe this is likely the first wave of a large-scale missile attack targeting Ukraine's critical energy infrastructure, similar to attacks this country has seen and experienced since the beginning of October. He says they believe this is likely the first of multiple waves, because they say that's a strategy that Russia has used when trying to target critical energy infrastructure. They fire one round of a lot of missiles, then fire other rounds kind of subsequently afterwards to try and confuse, tax Ukraine's air defenses here. But this is something that Ukrainian citizens have been aware could happen anytime. They have been preparing for it. Ukrainian officials have been warning them of it since we saw the most recent large-scale attack a couple of weeks ago. And we spent some time with one neighborhood, a community here that originally started just as kind of a ragtag neighborhood group that formed because they were trying to make their own neighborhood safer before the war. Then the war happened, and they enlisted in the territorial defense. Now they are back here trying to make sure that their own community is prepared for the possibility of additional large-scale missile strikes like the threat we are told we're under right now, and that if the power goes out within their community for days or even weeks, they can help their neighbors survive. Joe?
And Ellison, I mean, this group, they're actually on the front lines, right?
Yeah, I mean, they spent months on the front lines in the east, in the Kharkiv region. They shared a lot of video with us showing some of the things they dealt with, the days, the weeks, the months they spent in the trenches there. They see their community unit, and it is headed by the commander of the battalion now. He is actually the head of the Condo Board Association. And when the war happened, he said they all looked at each other and said, hey, we think in theory we have enough people here to form 1.5 battalions, so let's do it. So they all joined together, and the majority of the people we now met working to set up a warming center, they went to the front lines together. They came back together, and now they see the fight here, the fight against Putin using winter as a weapon, as sort of the second front line that they're dealing with together. Joe?
So, Ellison, what is it they are doing right now to prepare for attacks in their community?
Yeah, so we watched as they set up this sort of tent mini city, if you will, that had spaces where people could warm up, wood stoves, just trash cans that could be used to make fire, as well as generators. They were carrying in supplies. They were a lot of kids. You see some of them there. They brought their children, and they were helping to fan the flames, to chop the wood. It really is a big community effort. There are, of course, government efforts to help people in the event of a mass blackout. They call them points of invincibility. But what we've seen and what we saw here are Ukrainians who are looking around, seeing their neighbors and thinking, what can we do to make sure that our community, the people near us, the people we know, don't know, the people in the past we would have just borrowed some milk from, what can we do to make sure that they are safe? They say when it comes to this idea of Putin using winter as a weapon, I asked someone, do you think that's going to work? And he said, look around, look at all of us and what we're doing here. We're more united. We're going to fight it, whether it's on the front lines in Kharkiv or here fighting the large-scale missile strikes, the continuous challenge of blackouts. They say we're going to come together and keep fighting back.
All
Joe?
right, Ellison Barber. Ellison, please stay safe. Thank you so much.
And let's stay on international headlines now. China is starting to ease up on COVID restrictions.
NBC News foreign correspondent Claudio Lavaga joins us from Rome with this and other world headlines. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yes, today, for the first time in many months, commuters in Beijing and many other cities across China will be able to board public transport without the need of a negative COVID test. Now, China has been easing its zero COVID policy recently, especially after the widespread protests across the country. But the authorities are saying that this decision is now due to the weakening of the virus. Now, let's go to Belgium, where the country's largest ever trial begins today. The court will have to determine whether 10 men played a part in terror attacks in Brussels in 2016 that killed 32 people and injured over 300. More than 900 civil plaintiffs affected by the attacks claimed by the Islamic State will take part in the trial. And let's come back here in Italy, where the Catholic Church is once again allowing handshakes for the sign of peace. The gesture was banned to avoid direct contact among the faithful at the height of the pandemic and was replaced with a look in the eyes and a bow of the head. Well, still, the Italian Bishop Conference is inviting the faithful to continue to sanitize their hands upon entering the church, which has to be done by putting sanitizer in your hands and not washing it in the holy water font, guys. Just don't be naughty.
All right, good to know. We still aren't shaking hands at my church yesterday, so we were all just staring at each other, like looking at each other like this. It feels a little weird, but that's the way it is still in some places. Claudia, thanks so much.
Thank you. And coming up on Morning News Now, look what you made me do. That's the message from Swifties, now suing Ticketmaster after that chaotic pre-sale for Taylor Swift's upcoming tour.
After the break, more on the bad blood and how that lawsuit could change the ticketing industry. We're going to be right back.
We're back with the latest developments in that Taylor Swift Ticketmaster debacle.
Fans are now suing Live Nation Entertainment, Ticketmaster's parent company, for a laundry list of anti-competitive practices, arguing that led to soaring ticket prices for Swift's The Eras tour. We should note NBC News has reached out to Live Nation for comment about the lawsuit, but we have not yet heard back. For now, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos to break it all down for us. Danny, good morning. Good to see you here. So it's one thing for fans to say, I'm upset, this is unfair. It's another thing to actually go to court and make a legal argument. So what is it they are arguing here?
Joe, first of all, we're journalists. We're supposed to be impartial. I want her removed from the set. She's a known Swiftie. She's not going to be unbiased on this story. I can feel her staring at me, and I'm concerned. I'm concerned. These fans, again, I'm nervous. These fans are alleging, at first blush, you could say, look, these people didn't get their tickets. Boo-hoo. Why are you suing over this? It's not really about that. It's about monopolization of the industry. It's about Ticketmaster allegedly doing something really remarkable, not only cornering the primary market, but also cornering the secondary market. That's amazing. Most manufacturers would love to get a hand in the secondary market. If I buy a car and I sell it to you, the manufacturer gets $0 of that. Ticketmaster apparently has found out how to dominate both the initial sales and act as a scalper, which the complaint alleges is really interesting because allegedly they came in and said, look, there's a problem with scalpers, we'll come in and fix it. And the complaint alleges they came in and fixed it by putting their hand in the secondary market, and now they're profiting from it. But the complaint also alleges that these fans didn't just go on Ticketmaster and try to buy. They were promised, allegedly, again, all allegedly, they were promised that if they bought Swift merchandise and they would get a code and they would be able to go on and be given preferential treatment. And apparently that didn't happen. So it's not just a case of I wanted a ticket and I didn't get one. They may have entered into a contract with Ticketmaster, and that contract may have been breached.
So do you think the fans have a legitimate case here?
Are you asking as a journalist?
I am not part of this case. I happen to be a fan.
Fair question.
Fair question. Do I think, at first blush, it would have been easy to say these are people that just couldn't get a ticket because the demand was too high. And if that were the case, I would say you don't have a legitimate lawsuit. But on further review, that doesn't appear to be what they're alleging. They're alleging that they entered into an agreement with Ticketmaster because apparently there was a concert that was canceled. And they said, well, if you buy merchandise and you will give you this code, you can get in and buy tickets and get preferential treatment. It appears, according to the complaint, there may not have been a code. They just took whoever wanted the tickets right away. And if that's the case, they may have had an agreement. But they're also using this as an opportunity to challenge this, to challenge Ticketmaster on antitrust type allegations and even fraud. So it actually seems like it might be a case.
I mean, real quickly here, when the dust settles, could this lead to more competition within the industry?
Yes, and the American way is that competition is a good thing. That is the idea behind our antitrust laws. And if it is the case that Ticketmaster has completely taken over not only the primary ticket sales market, but also the secondary ticket sales market, and if it's true that that has caused prices to rise that is not tied to the value of the ticket. But then again, Joe, how do you know what the value of tickets are? Is there anything more elastic in the market than ticket sales? If you've ever been to an event, you've seen scalpers outside saying going from anything from, $100 to $5 to $1,000. There may be no market in the world that is quite as unpredictable as ticket sales.
All right. Danny, thank you so much.
Thanks, Danny. I'll be watching.
I know you will. I know it.
Now let's switch gears and go to Waukesha, Wisconsin, which held its Christmas parade over the weekend 1 year after a driver hit and killed 6 people during last season's holidays festivities. NBC News correspondent Maura Barrett joins us now from Waukesha with the very latest. Hey, Maura, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. This was just such a tragic start to the holiday season last year. The parade returning this year, coming after that chaotic trial that so many of us saw. The suspect, Darrell Brooks, representing himself, convicted on more than 70 counts stemming from the attack. He's now serving more than 700 years in prison, serving 6 life sentences. The closure of that trial, several people told me, pushed through their hesitation to come back and finish what they started at the parade this year. This year's theme yesterday was peace on earth, and it was just felt at every turn.
Waukesha's Christmas parade is back, bigger and stronger than ever. The community turning up in force 1 year after tragedy struck when a man drove an SUV through the parade, killing 6 people and injuring dozens more. 80 floats line the streets, led by 6 snowflake cutouts in honor of the lives lost. The dancing grannies, who lost some of their own, are back too.
What does it mean to you that you're back here dancing again after being injured?
It means that I have lots of angels surrounding me.
First responders serving as the grand marshals as new additions honor the heroes and the victims. Their families forever bonded together.
We all support each other and we all have a connection.
Sherry and Aaron Sparks lost their 8-year-old son, Jackson, who was marching in the parade with his brother and baseball team.
I've always loved Christmas, but then there's that weight and that, that you're fighting through.
Do you think that the parade coming back will help with that?
I think for a lot of people it's going to be healing.
They're not comfortable going back this year, but credit the community's support for those who do want to attend. To ensure safety, the city quadrupled police officer presence and altered the parade route from past years, along with an $800,000 investment in new vehicle barriers.
The most important one is the community feels safe. And that's something we can't put a price tag on.
The town's resilience on full display.
Remember what a Christmas parade is. It's bringing everyone together in the joy of Christmas. You kind of think about how terrible it is that, there's been a stain on that, and there shouldn't be.
That stain starting to be rubbed out with the parade here yesterday, an overarching sense of resilience here. But something that was interesting that came up when I was talking with the police captain there, he mentioned this idea of a fraternity of tragedies. When Waukesha happened, people from Las Vegas, after the attack in 2017, reached out to them. Highland Park happened just an hour down the road from here. Waukesha immediately reached out to them. So obviously terrible circumstances, but just a reminder of how communities ultimately, at their core, want to help each other heal and grow and learn from each other. Savannah.
All right, Maura, thank you so much. Great report.
Coming up, 'tis the season for spending. And right now, for a lot of people, that means credit card debt, which shoppers should know before heading to the register.
Plus, the crisis of childcare, the situation forcing some people to go to extremes even before they become parents. That's up next on Morning News Now. Welcome back. The holiday shopping season is in full swing, and despite record high inflation, people are still spending on gifts, but that's leading to soaring credit card debt. Combine that with rising interest rates, and it doesn't add up to a rosy picture for the consumer this Christmas. Here's NBC News business and data reporter Brian Chung with more.
With 3 weeks to go, the holiday rush is well underway.
With everything nearly 8% more expensive than last year, shoppers like Sherry Sorrells are paying with plastic to buy gifts this holiday season.
Yeah, I got some things off of Amazon, the foot massager. I got a karaoke machine for one of my daughters, and I got my son a bike.
But with thousands of dollars in debt, the mother of 3 now faces a serious challenge.
I think it's kind of an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
She's not the only one. Jamie Feldman was once $20,000 in debt.
Every time you do a minimum payment, the next month is like, it's like you didn't pay anything with the interest and the fees.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm in 15,000.
Feldman posted her stories on TikTok, engaging others in similar positions.
Obviously, yes, there was some mismanagement of money.
Americans are headed into the peak holiday shopping season with record debt as they buy things like gifts or even Christmas trees. But they also face record high interest rates if they miss a payment. Credit card debt has soared 19% in the last year to a record $866 billion, and the average interest rate now nearing 20%. At that rate, making minimum payments on a $1,000 bill would take over 9 years to pay off, racking up about $990 in interest.
I've gotten a lot of emails from the card issuers just stating that the terms have changed, and 9 times out of 10 it's the interest rate that's increasing.
But that hasn't stopped you from spending the way that you're spending?
No, only because I feel pressured to, have a good Christmas for my children.
Experts recommend prioritizing 0% balance transfer cards and consolidating your debt.
So if this describes you, no shame. I mean, you have plenty of company, but let's focus on bringing that interest rate down.
There's other strategies too. This Hanukkah, Jamie says she's just focused on spending quality time with her loved ones.
I've been really open and honest about what I can and cannot do, and I think for us this year it's going to be more about experiences than actual gifts.
Because the most memorable gifts don't have to cost anything. Brian Chung, NBC News, New York.
To get some more money news, Tesla is making some production cuts.
CNBC's Silvana Hanau joins us now with that and more. Hey, Silvana, good morning.
Hey guys, good morning. Yeah, so Tesla reportedly plans to reduce production of the Model Y at its plant in Shanghai by 20% or more this month as it faces weaker demand in China. Now, this would mark the first voluntary production cut by Tesla, which also faces increased competition from Chinese electric car makers such as BYD. Now, data out from the government today shows Tesla sales rose 40% last month as it cut prices for its best-selling vehicles and offered incentives to Chinese buyers. Apple and Amazon are planning to resume advertising on Twitter. That's according to a report by tech news site Platformer. Elon Musk announcing during a Twitter Spaces conversation on Saturday that Apple has fully resumed advertising. Apple is Twitter's largest advertiser. Last week, reports say Twitter sent an email to ad agencies offering customers incentives to increase spending on the site. Companies ranging from General Mills to Audi have stopped or paused ads on Twitter since Musk took over the platform in October. And CVS is testing a system to let pharmacists process prescriptions remotely. The Wall Street Journal says CVS has equipped most of its 9,000 U.S. drugstores with technology that lets pharmacists review and enter information, either from a central location, their home, or at stores other than where the customers pick up their prescriptions. CVS says the program will free pharmacists up to provide other services such as vaccinations and health screenings. So we'll see if that changes because lines are usually pretty long.
Yes, they can be.
Yeah.
I know that's true. All right, Silvana, thank you so much.
You got it.
Turning now to another issue facing Americans, the lack of access to child care. It's forcing some parents to take extraordinary measures even before their babies are born. Here's NBC News Now correspondent Zincle Esamoah.
And look at this.
Taking care of children is difficult, and today, finding childcare for kids is nearly impossible.
You want some Cheerios? Yeah. As soon as I had the viability ultrasound at 20 weeks, I started looking for childcare.
When you were pregnant?
Yes, because I knew that the wait lists were really long. Oh, thank you.
Though Michaela Sturs, a mother of 3, started looking for childcare before her youngest child was born, she never found it, citing a lack of affordability and long distances. The 28-year-old mom lives in rural Wisconsin. Like many parents today, she's dealing with child care deserts, which the Center for American Progress classifies as areas where fewer than a third of children have access to a licensed child care facility. It's a reality hitting low and middle income, Black, Hispanic, and rural communities the hardest, forcing parents to make difficult decisions.
How has it impacted your life not having access to childcare?
Well, I left my job in healthcare to work nights retail so that I can be home with my kids.
The click button.
Michaela says her family now lives paycheck to paycheck. In lieu of childcare, she and her husband, Christopher, work alternative shifts.
He leaves for work at 4 in the morning, and he comes home in the afternoon, and then I work usually 4 to 10 or 11.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Only seeing each other during a brief handoff.
Hi, everyone.
Parents should start looking for childcare before they even consider having a child.
Really?
There are wait lists that are over 2 years long.
Becca Elbert works at Western Dairyland Community Action Agency, funded by a 1990 congressional mandate. Her program's role is to help families find childcare in their communities and work with childcare providers, getting them trained, launched, and regulated.
What are the obstacles parents in rural areas face when it comes to childcare?
Drive times, cost, availability, affordability. We've also heard from businesses over the years who are looking to expand and later decide that they're not going to do that because there isn't an adequate amount of childcare for those families that they're trying to recruit.
For Michaela, the lack of childcare is pushing her out of her community.
With all of this, do you think you can continue living in rural Wisconsin?
No.
They hope to move closer to a major city or family members so they can get additional childcare support.
We need an ongoing partnership between families, childcare providers, businesses, and our public sector to really figure out a solution. Our economies can't thrive if we're not supporting families.
Zinclair Samoa, NBC News.
And coming up, if you're still searching for the perfect Christmas tree, you might want to look in a lab.
You want the needles to stay on, but you're also working on
the aroma of the tree.
The aroma.
Yeah.
It smells great.
When we come back, we'll break down how scientists are working to keep up with the demand for that holiday spruce. You're watching Morning News Now.
Welcome back. You might have just spent your weekend buying and decorating your Christmas tree, but have you ever thought about what it takes each year to grow them and how all that demand is met every year?
NBC News senior national correspondent Carrie Sanders took a look at the hidden science behind the perfect tree.
In North Carolina's Blue Ridge Mountains,
you see one over here that might work?
3 generations of the Amabile family continuing a tradition.
What do you think about that one?
I like that one there.
In all, 4 trees, including one for 7-year-old Charlie Rain's bedroom.
And why did you choose this tree of all the trees?
Because it had a lot of greenery on it.
Along the East Coast, the tree on your neighborhood lot likely was grown in North Carolina.
I was driving a tractor when I was 9 years old.
Farmer Joe Freeman.
Well, Fraser fir is most popular just because of the overall appearance, the strong branches, the smell.
But it's what you cannot see on his 350,000 tree orchard that's groundbreaking.
Behind every tree, there is more than just farming. These days, there is science and, yes, even genetics for what has become the definition of the perfect Christmas tree.
In a first-of-its-kind lab at North Carolina State, Justin Whitehill leads a team of researchers on the cusp of creating super trees, Christmas trees that grow in 6 years instead of 10.
Is there an analogy to what you're doing in the lab here?
So we're developing the elite athletes of Christmas trees, essentially.
Scientists extract DNA and at the molecular level pinpoint what allows some to grow faster than others.
This is a clump of embryos or baby trees.
Embryos that are cloned and then grafted into saplings, like many of those now growing on Joe Freeman's farm. 4 decades of research finally paying off, just as climate change becomes an urgent challenge.
We've got to build a better tree so when we do have a early frost, a late frost,
a wet season, a dry season, whatever, we need a tree that's robust enough to live through that.
Here in the research orchards, more progress.
You want the needles to stay on, but you're also working on
the aroma of the tree.
The aroma.
Yeah.
It smells great.
It smells great, yeah.
And you thought that perfect Christmas tree, like the one in Charlie Rain's bedroom, was just good luck. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Laurel Springs, North Carolina.
That does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Yes, it does, but the news continues right now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.